I'm very pleased to actually speak in this debate this afternoon. I didn't realise I had 3 minutes. I thought a bit more, so I need a bit speed up a little bit now. I think it's been highlighted, and I apologise for not being at the launch of the hydrogen bike because I was actually chairing the Cosmetic Group on Cancer at the time. I couldn't be there. But it is important us to remember a few things. Power accounted for 17% of the UK's emissions in 2016, and that's according to the Committee on Climate Change. These figures need to reduce significantly. We all agree with that. I don't think anybody in this chamber will disagree with that, to be able to meet our 2050 targets. Now, transport and industrial emissions are two major causes of increased carbon emissions in the country, and we need to address these. And I think most people already focused upon the transport agenda. So perhaps I'll look at the heavy industry, and that's responsible for 40% of CO2 emissions in Wales. But converting these emissions into high-value specialty chemicals and food products turns this waste into a major resource. Converting industry from using hydrocarbon fuels to using hydrogen generated from green electricity sources can both decrease industrial emissions and simultaneously lower energy costs to create a more competitive regional economy. Now, using hydrogen for heating and transport could be one of those ways. Hydrogen can be very versatile. It's been mentioned, it can be transported by gas, by pipeline. It can be transported by road in tankers as a compressed gas, or actually produced locally in a decentralised system. Therefore, it has many potential uses in an overall energy system. Now, it can make an important contribution to long-term decarbonisation if combined with greater energy efficiency, cheap, low-carbon power generation, electrified transport, and new hybrid heat pump systems. The report from the CCC, Hydrogen in a Low-Carbon Economy, acknowledged the potential of hydrogen as a zero-carbon energy source. It's always been recognised, and there's no difference in that. It could actually replace natural gas. I do remember the days of town gas, and we moved over to natural gas. And now we're talking about hydrogen replacing natural gas, and therefore it's possible. It wasn't possible many years ago because it was considered expensive. But today, it is a more realistic option to help decarbonise the UK because the costs are coming down. And therefore, it is important that we get government commitment to improve support to develop the UK's industrial capacity in this area. And Wales has a number of advantages that can be utilised in the transition to a hydrogen economy. We have abundant renewable sources to provide an opportunity to clean up our energy system. However, one part of energy demand is almost totally oil-based. I talked about the energy, the transport. I'll leave that here. We'll leave that one for others to speak about. We have fantastic projects in this country. And Amendment 3 from the Conservatives highlights Wales should do more with universities. Well, I actually want to put a record in my appreciation of what they are already doing with universities and some of the projects. We have Flexis and we have Rice, from the, both fantastic projects. And I'm also proud of the fact that there are two research centres in my constituency, in Baglan Bay Energy Park and in the university's second campus. They are doing fantastic jobs. And let me give an indication of how they're working with industry in Tata in particular. I'll be very quick to put her with. Using hydrogen to look at how we can actually capture waste heat in Tata, to turn that into hydrogen and turn that into usable energy. So we reduce our emissions. Using hydrogen to become a cheap and efficient way of actually generating electricity, again, from Tata's waste gases and renewable energy. Because if they can actually get energy into water, split the water into hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen becomes energy, oxygen can be used actually in water cleansing, in water treatment plants, which are also based in Tata, by the way. So there's another option there. So we can use it. We need to look very carefully. I appreciate the work being done by the Welsh Government, but we need all to back it now. We need to make sure that it becomes from a research to an industry and then into developing across the UK.
Thank you. Can I now